Hi there, this is Megan Mitchell with Agents of Change Social Work Test Prep, and today I'm bringing you another social work shorts. And these shorts are just very to the point clips on different content or topics. And today I'm bringing you one that I think is very, very, very important. And if you've ever taken any sort of exam, this will probably resonate with you. Today's social work short is going to be on staying motivated. So, I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can stay motivated and push through to that finish line as you're preparing for the test, because this is a very exhausting process. Whether you're a strong test taker or not, it takes a toll on our mental and physical capabilities. So, you want to make sure that you're staying fresh, you're staying motivated, and I'm going to bring you some tips that I hope will help you in your studying. I do want to preface this by saying, though, that this exam is hard. It's a hard exam. I know very few people that went in feeling just like this was a breeze. It's a hard exam. It's a hard exam, but you can do it. You absolutely can do it. Studying can be exhausting. Like I said, it can be mentally and physically exhausting. It can take a toll on us. And when that happens, it can be hard to find motivation. It can be hard to dig deep and find that stamina to keep up with your studying, but you can do it. So, as test day approaches, I hope that you will employ some of these techniques, because it is very common that people start to lose motivation the closer they get to test day. And people are like, why am I losing motivation? My test day is just around the corner. And why this is it's probably a combination of things, but it could be study burnout. So you might be burnt out. You probably have been putting in a lot of work, time, energy to this. So you probably need to pause and practice some self-care if you do find yourself that you're burnt out. And fear of failure. No one wants to go into this feeling like they are going to fail this exam. So a lot of times it's that fear that is helping us lose motivation, because we're scared. We're scared that we're not going to be successful. So those are some reasons why you might be losing that motivation as you get closer to test day. But just know that there is a finish line in sight. Getting to test day, taking that 4-hour exam, that is the finish line. So keep pushing forward. My first piece of advice is that each day is an opportunity to start fresh. That's like what's so great about studying and about being able to hit the reset button, is that every time you sit down to study, it is like a fresh, clean slate, right? You don't want to dwell on the past. If you had some failures in your past with studying, you don't want to dwell on that. You don't want to harp on that. Those are in the past. You want to sit down fresh with a fresh attitude and a fresh perspective every time that you are studying. Those obstacles or setbacks or roadblocks that you might have had in the past, use those as motivators. So if you had a few days where you really just were not sticking to your study schedule because life gets in the way, that's okay. Don't dwell on them. Don't feel guilty for them. Start back fresh and know that you always can hit the reset button. So use every day as a new day to start fresh, and push forward and have that goal of the finish line exam day in mind. My second tip is to treat yourself. And that might sound or seem kind of silly in terms of studying, but it's really a good motivator, and it's a good way to practice self-care. So you can create a system to start to reward yourself after you do a certain amount of study sessions. So if you're sticking to your study schedule and you can make this up, whatever that will work for you. Treat yourself. So maybe you have put in a solid week of work. Like maybe you have a favorite food or a favorite restaurant you want to order from. That's a great way to reward yourself for like all that hard work that you put in. Maybe it's 5 or 7 solid study sessions. Also, it could be so simple that maybe you're going to take a bath to treat yourself or reward yourself for the hard work that you've put in. Maybe this is something that I often did, is I love very cheesy rom-coms. So after I put in like a good study session, I would treat myself by watching one of my favorite movies. So you might binge watch a couple episodes of a Netflix show, or you might read a book, whatever you think will help you show yourself some love. show yourself that you're very proud of the work that you put in. So you can treat yourself in this study journey, and it's very important, and it's a good motivator too. Like if you set a goal, like if I do study, on my schedule for 5 times, I'm going to reward myself with this. It can be a good motivator if you're struggling with motivation. This third one, I think, can sometimes be the most powerful tool to stay motivated, and that's writing down your why. So I want you to think about why you're taking this exam. Why are you taking it, and why do you want to pass? Everyone's why is going to be different, and it's going to look differently based on your own life and your own circumstances. So what I suggest is writing down your why you want to pass this, why this test is important to you. And you can put it in your studying notebook. You might put it on a sticky note on your computer, somewhere where when you sit down to study, it's going to be visible. Your fridge, your desk, somewhere that is important to you. Why this is a good motivator, because every time you sit down to study, you're going to have that constant reminder to keep pushing forward. Why do you want this? Maybe that it's you need it for a job, and that's going to open more opportunities for you in your career. Maybe it's to prove to yourself that you can do this, and you're putting in the hard work to show that you're capable. Write down that why and keep coming back to it. That's going to help you push forward. If you're feeling like you don't really have a why, think hard and think deep about why this exam is important to you and why you want to pass. Think of your why. Let that why push you forward in your studying. When you're ever feeling down in your studying, or maybe you just need a little bit of encouragement, that's also a great time to revisit that why you're doing this, and it might refresh you and give you that little extra push that you need. My fourth tip is to find an accountability partner. There's just a lot of science and psychology around accountability and how it actually helps us and it benefits us. So you can either find a study buddy, if that is possible for you, like maybe that would be virtually, or maybe a colleague or a coworker or a past classmate. If you can find a study buddy, that's great if that works for you, or an accountability partner. And this accountability partner does not have to be someone associated with social work. This can just be someone that you're regularly checking in with. They're regularly checking in with you, and they can help motivate you. So for me, for example, my husband was my accountability partner. He does not work in social work, but he knew this test was important to me. So whenever he would check in with me, ask me how I was doing in my studying, and days that I wasn't, he would push me. He'd say, okay, you need to at least study for 45 minutes or 30 minutes. Do something today to help you make your day feel productive. So find someone that's going to support you and be a supportive network for you and keep you on track towards your goals. So this could be a spouse, this could be a friend, a coworker, a family member, just someone that is going to help you, keep you honest and keep you accountable. And that when you have that support, you might find that it's a really good motivator to push forward. And kind of just vent to someone if you need to. So find an accountability partner that will help keep you on track. My fifth suggestion is to change it up. Our brains get very tired of while it's great to have routine, our brains do get tired when we do the same thing over and over and over and over again. If you're feeling unmotivated, it's because you might need a change. It's similarly to in your house when you might need to add a fresh coat of paint, or you might need to add something new to your wardrobe. So changing it up can be good. It's exciting. It's a new, fresh perspective. It also keeps our brain interested. So it keeps us on our toes. So you might want to change something up in your studying to help give you a fresh perspective and help give you that renewed energy that you might need. So what this might look like is it might be as simple as changing where you study. So maybe you're always studying at a desk in your office, but now maybe you're going to move towards the window so you can get some sunlight. Maybe you're going to get a more comfortable chair to sit in. Literally tiny little changes might make all the difference. You might change the time of day you're studying. So maybe you thought you were a night person, but you try in the morning and you realize that you're just retaining the information a lot more successful at that time. Weekdays versus nights versus weekends. What works best for you? You also might want to change up part of the modality of how you're studying. I'm not suggesting you totally scrap everything and start a new modality, but maybe try something different. Maybe you've never tried flashcards and you are really stuck on a subject and you might add in some flashcards. Or maybe you're really struggling with a certain concept and you are going to watch a YouTube video on it, or you're going to read an article on it. There's so many different modalities and touch points out there. Adding in a reading or a visual or just something might make you see things in a way you hadn't seen things before. Sometimes for me, like if I'm stuck and I find a really great YouTube, it just clicks for me. Or if I just read through like a quick article on the topic, that might work. So just change things up. This keeps it interesting. It keeps our brains refreshed, and it might actually help motivate you to keep up or push forward in your studying. And my last bit of advice is to create a healthy study life balance. So I know everyone has heard about a work life balance, but studying can become like a job, it can become like work. So I want you to make sure that you have a healthy study life balance. Remember to have a balance. Studying shouldn't be dominating one area, and other parts of our life should not be dominating one area. So maybe you're not going to be watching Netflix for 8 hours a day, and you can do some studying in there. So remember to find a balance between your study time and the important things in your life. Studying's important. Yes, it is. You have to study for this exam, but also life's important. Your family's important. Your health's important. And just remember that. You do still have a life even when you're in exam mode. So make sure that you are taking the time that you need to stay healthy, stay safe. And if you find yourself it's swaying one way to the other, remember each day is a new day to start new. So kind of take a reset and determine like what you need to do to find that more healthy balance. You need to prioritize your demands. There's going to be demands outside of studying that you need to tend to, and that's okay. But just make sure you're prioritizing. Like I said with the Netflix example, maybe not the highest priority that you must watch 8 hours of Netflix a day. Maybe a balance would be that you're watching an hour or so a day. So prioritize, find ways to not let studying take over your life, because that's going to cause that burnout. And remember, when we're burnt out, we're not our best selves. Our brains are not our best selves. Our bodies are not our best selves. So that's why the study life balance is important, because you don't want to get burnt out, and that's when you start to lose that motivation. So you want to be as fresh physically and mentally as possible. So find that healthy study life balance because it's important. Those are my 6 tips for finding motivation in your studying process. I hope that you found one that will maybe work for you or one you're going to commit to in your studying. But know that you're not alone. If you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling unmotivated, that's very, very, very common. So find something that's going to work for you, push forward, and know that that finish line is near, and be confident and proud of all the work that you've put in. If you are looking for more content, I have my information here. I have similar audio and visual materials. I have $15 individual sessions that go over a specific topic in more detail. They always have practice questions that I break down at the end. And then I also have a 7-session bundle for $80 that goes over a variety of the top topics you will need. There's a 50-question practice test, and also that gives you access to some free study groups and some free study content throughout the month. If you're interested in that, you can check it out there. And then you have my email address if you ever have any questions about anything in your studying journey. I am here to help you and to assist you. And lastly, I want to harp on this and tell you that you can do this. It's a hard test, but you can do this. Be proud of all the work that you've put in. Be confident in your abilities. You can and will be successful. I wish you all the best in your studying journey. And remember, you got this. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you again soon for another social work show.